Oh, hi, people, and welcome to the stream. It's December already, the last month of the year. Also, one of the last few weeks of the year, which means we're going to prepare for 2024, which then again also means that there will be some minor changes. Not anything big, but something. And since we're here, nobody online. I'm gonna have a special beer tonight. Sacred Fruit, coconut stout. I don't know about you people, but this looks dubious. This looks pretty interesting. It's been outdoor chilled, and since I don't actually know how cold it is outside. Um, Seems something like minus 14, minus 10, roughly, whatever. So this should be pretty goddamn chill. So welcome to the stream and fire away your questions. As always, please try to tag me, at Rauta when you want to get my attention for sure. Because when the stream comments start to fill up the queue, I will most likely miss some of the questions, some of the comments during the stream, that is. But anyway, welcome and fire away your questions. Before you start doing questions, I will obviously do a little bit of an introduction. I will, so to say, give a little bit of heads up, give you a little bit of idea what's been going lately in Rauta camp. I will share you the latest news, and I can always, of course, give you a little bit of heads up what will be in year 2024. Not that I'm much of a foreteller, not that I can foresee a lot of things, but like I said, some minor changes will take place. And of course, we have some festival plans. So, given these plans mentioned, it's really, really hard to tell for sure what will eventually effectively happen, which will actually happen. Because, I mean, of course, sometimes there will be some cancellations. We're all kind of get used to it, pandemic years especially. And of course, the so called cancer culture, not to mention sometimes people get sick, etc. But now it seems the next few weeks things will be rather normal, especially that I pretty much done all the videos for year 2023. That means December is about 95% done. There will be some few videos, maybe 90% done. There will be some opinion videos which need to be still filmed. There will be some Rauta's crash course to Norwegian black metal videos that need to be finished, but reviews mostly done, and mostly interviews as well. Now, this week I already witnessed two gigs, and Arab Alder with some warm-up bands was some of the bands that actually got to see play live, and that interview is now done and supposed to go in edit anytime soon. And if things go well, Patreon supporters, that is, should get the video uh, before their eyes next week. And if that plan is solid, that means the rest of you will get the interview out in 2 weeks. Now, before that, however, the latest interview was actually as exotic as Höst of Tåke interviewing me at Steel Chaos. Me, not because of Rauta, of course, but because of Nightside, the band I'm vocalist of. There are other projects as well, but Nightside is the main attraction, the main interest there. But of course, you cannot really separate me from Rauta. You can't really separate Rauta totally from Nightside as long as I'm part of it, both of these things. But anyway, that's pretty much the latest stuff. It was actually very refreshing to be on the answering side of questions rather than being the one who is doing the questions. So it's something different. And of course, I feel very honored to be interviewed by someone that you all know to some level, that is Höst of Tåke. And now, those who are still joining the stream here and joining the chat, Once again, I want to remind, if you want to get my attention, I'll show you. Do this. So tag me on the chat with et and Rauta, and then because this will be highlighted. Of course, I will also, what YouTube does is that it automatically highlights not only those tags, but also, when some people donate money for the cause. Now, talking of which, goddamn, this is weird. Weird beer. I think it needs to warm up a little bit. Maybe this was too chilled. I can only taste some coconut here. So, in case what you're wondering, what I'm drinking is Sacred Fruit Coconut Stout. Just bought this weird beer yesterday for my movie night, watching Apocalypse Now: Final Cut, my all-time favorite movie, in my opinion, the best movie in the world. Anyway, but I only had like one beer, so this one was in the refrigerator, and decided to save it for the stream. So quickly, checking out your comments, which are not tagged, but mind you, I might skip them, some of them, because I won't maybe necessarily see them. Yes, John Jarrett, I have one kid, and actually today we went to see Heavy Saurus. It was our third gig so far. My daughter is 9 at the moment, and yeah, it was nice to see this metal gig, suitable for kids as well. And I know she's kind of getting away from metal and all. Not that she was much into metal to begin with, but we have had some Heavy Saurus moments, quite a bit actually. Like I said, was the third gig, and also she and me, we have been listening to a lot of Heavy Saurus albums when we were driving, also some other stuff, but she's still a kid, not that interested in dad's music and all. So that's the story. So what else? Yeah, talking about not listening to music, losing the interest for music. That is not something that has ever happened to me during my almost 50 years of existence. I mean, whenever I found music as a kid, I always been addicted to it. And it seems like I've been more addicted to listening to music the older I've gotten versus when I was, say, a teenager or as a kid. Anyway, hello, Maslot. Nice to have you here. So, about next year, I will, of course, answer your questions when you just tag me and ask them. But now let's play a little foreteller, because that's part of the streams always, to look forward what's happening in the Rauta camp and what's supposed to take place next year. That's the best part with December streams. We always get to wrap up things, even though 2024 is still a few weeks away. And one of the brilliant things about New Year's is it's always a good excuse to just like zero, reset the game, and make new plans. First of all, when it comes to more interviews and all that stuff, like I said, December is pretty much done. So far, there's only one interview in the pipeline, Ereb Alder, which is supposed to be out in 2 weeks. And then most likely, unless there's something really surprising, there won't be interviews for maybe a month or two. Hard to say for sure when the next interview will take place. I don't know. But for the first real event that is supposed to take place is this Nordic metal cruise, which I have mentioned previously in some of my videos, and I hope to do a proper preview of it later on. We shall see how it goes. And then Abath is playing as headliner. There are also interesting bands, kind of a cult underground names, like Hell Ripper playing one of the warm-up bands. So it will be more underground in a way, and more extreme metal than some of the previous Nordic metal cruises. I mean, they're always fun, but in this particular case, I find it more compelling in a way, because it's not about big bands, except for Abath. But the bands that are there, they are not also some kind of a mainstream, kind of a mellow, easy to approach, kind of a basic mainstreamish metal in style, but something different. So I'm very very keen to join the boat, and maybe hope. Let's hope that this time a Bath interview is taking place. That is, if you are aware, a Bath interview is already supposed to happen at the last Inferno festival last Easter in Oslo, where they played a good show, by the way. But because of headache and what have you, the interview didn't happen. But I was told by the drummer, who happens to be a friend of mine, a Finnish drummer that is very, very skilled, very good guy. He told me that he's trying to make it happen, and it seems Bath was a little bit apologetic for interview not happening. So I hope this will be stuck in his head, and this time he will make it up for the interview to happen. I don't know yet, but that is what I'm hoping to achieve with Nordic Metal Cruise. Now, this is early February, if I recall correctly. So by February, we should have some interesting interviews to happen. I mean, I tried to do, of course, more than just a Bath one, but that's the main attraction. Now, come early March, my home city, Turku, will also host another Turku Saatanale festival. This time it's, I think, number 11, a festival which I've gone through many, many times on the channel, sometimes interviewing the people behind the festival and always doing interviews at the festival. And this is actually the second time we're going to play there with Nightside. We played in 2022, our comeback gig with Nightside. It was a great experience. Our first gig in almost like 20 years. And now we're coming back with some new songs for the upcoming album. So it will be very, very special for us. And I hope for the audience as well. And there are plenty of interesting bands like Varloghe from Finland, Lord of Pagatorn, also from Finland, Commander Agraris, Flag, etc. Then there will be some Brazilian bands like Outlaw and Sex Trash, and Deus Mortem from Poland and all that stuff. So it will be very, very interesting for me to interview them. And of course, Helheim from Norway. These were very, very recently, by the way, updated the whole lineup. And like, for example, Helheim was just recently added to the bill. And this is their second time in Finland, so it's not like they're regular visitors. Now, I was lucky to actually interview Helheim last year in Norway at Midgårdsblot Festival. And the main guy, really, really nice chap. I got to meet him in Bergen. He also plays it in Tåke, so I got to meet him in Steelfest. And this time we promised some beers. But that is to say, not likely to happen Helheim Part 2. Actually, probably I won't be making interviews during the same day. I'm having the band, our own band to play, but I don't know. Let's see if I can do double duties. But the second day will be interviews. So let's see which bands I'm gonna get. I guess I should go for the Brazilian ones because they're not that common here. But then again, Deus Mortem is also something that it kind of interests me a lot. So we shall see how it goes. I am pretty sure Warlock ain't up for interviews, in case you're asking. But then again, Sex Trash, Outlaw, those bands could be. For example, Outlaw actually sent me their latest album a few months back for review. They contacted me for album review, and that's very Vatine like stuff. Even though it's from Brazil, they sound very Swedish. So if you like Vatine, Outlaw is a band you should be checking out. So maybe those bands are something that I should go for. Deus Mortem, Sex Trash, Outlaw, you name it. But this is how it looks for the first couple of months. So Nordic Metal Cruise in 2024, February and March 2024, Turku Saatanale. Now, come April, like actually last stage of March, is Inferno 2024. And that's going to be 4 days of Festival Madness, which means there are plenty of interesting bands going to play live. And for example, Come Far, which I tried to do interview at in 2022 Inferno, where they played, didn't happen back then. Then I heard this year they could have done it with me, for example, at Midgårdsblot where they played, but I was like, sorry, I'm not going there. I don't have a budget to go there. But luckily, thanks to all Patreon supporters, people like SK, people like Nature, whoever you are, thanks to your people donations, we have been able to save enough money so that Inferno hotels and flights are already booked. So it will be 4 of us people going to Inferno. And of course, people who have been supporting get the first suggestions. I mean, this time I'm trying to do it so on the Patreon site, which I probably should link here. Let's see if I can, if I'm able. This is something that people should get to know. This is the site where you get to show your love, your support with a little bit of money. I'm not begging you, so don't worry about it. Just saying, if you want to support and get some benefits for being a Rauta supporter, this is the way to go. Now, my point here is why I'm mentioning this is that because of Patreon supporters, you know, we have been able to save some money. We, as me, doing the saving, of course, but I mean, this is for the crew, me and the camera people. We will be three of us plus one bonus guy from Nightside who's actually joining, but he has to pay his own hotels and flights. Sorry, we cannot really have freeloaders. Anyway, the point here is with Patreon supporters who have been, helping us to save money for the trip. I will be making posts there, and you Patreon supporters who have been there, I'm trying to take into account your requests, which bands to interviews, at which festivals I'm going. That applies both Nordic Metal Cruise, which is kind of a no-brainer because only 4 bands, as well as Turku Saatanalle, which I mentioned, and of course Inferno 2024. Now we're pretty dry in the budget department, but I'm really, really hoping, and I think we can make it, but we shall see. I think Beyond the Gates 2024 is something that I try to get my crew also to go to, meaning that now that we have already taken care of those Inferno costs, hotels, and accommodation, flights and accommodation, I'm trying to save money enough that we can go to Beyond the Gates because the lineup is pretty interesting there already, even though it's still some, I don't know, 9 months away. I mean, it's August 2024. But these are the festivals I am trying to get my crew going to, and there will be some really, really good bands I'm trying to interview, which should be worth your money, I hope, anyway. So there is that. But of course, there will be Steelfest. That doesn't really need people's donations to do the trip because we're anyway going. It's a domestic trip. So there are no flight costs and all that stuff. So Steelfest 2024 is also in the planning, in the budget, whatever. So these are the festivals I'm trying to go, get my ass there, and do the interviews. So of course, I'm hoping this will be making Rauta even more interesting channel for coming year 2024. So a long introduction, kind of a foretelling what's going to happen in coming months. But we're not going to worry about Beyond the Gates just yet. It's still so many months away. But Inferno is only like 5 months, 4 months away anyway. So these are the kind of plans that we have to just like have done so that we have some interesting content to bring to you. All right, reading your comments. Like I said, if you want to ask me a question, just make sure to tag me on your when you're typing because I might be missing them. So I will be first going to the questions which are me tagged. Hello, Cecilia Taylor. I noticed that you joined Discord. I actually greeted you there as well. So I hope you're having a good time on Rauta Discord side. About the beer, this is 4.5. This is just basic grocery store beer. We're not allowed in Finland to sell anything stronger than 5.5. So that's the reason. They're mild beers. Yeah, SK, I agree with you about your comment about posters saying they used to like metal but grew up. I don't know. I think it's a bullshit argument. It's almost like saying like, yeah, I used to love girls when I was younger. Now I don't. I became gay later on. I mean, come on, it's possible, I guess. But like one of my friends actually, uh, she went transition from a gal to guy, so not she anymore, he. I mean, these things happen, but I would find it weird. That was like I was the guy who liked metal or music, and I know I don't. Like, what the hell? It's like, would I ever get bored of metal, sex, and I don't know, beer? Not likely, but I don't know. Hey, to each his own. Hello, Fartain Artisan. Good evening, and my pleasure if you like the stuff. Hello, Natred. Yes, streaming a little bit earlier today because I actually got some chores to do, and I think I'm gonna go for a little bit cyberpunk playing after the stream. It's been on hiatus for a few weeks when I was doing Spider-Man 2. So yeah, I'm an avid gamer. People who don't know that, you should know that most people in Finland are, I mean, black metal people. We like games. We're geeks and all. Yes, Jack Judd, a lot of snow. It's been snowing actually throughout the day. It was kind of a pain in the ass to drive around today when I was going to Heavy and some groceries and mall and whatever with my kid. And it was slippery as fuck. I mean, it's -7 or something like that when I was driving, but because there was constantly coming more and more snow, even I have a four-wheel drive BMW, it still felt like there's kind of a like sliding back and forth. So yeah, it's nasty, nasty weather out there. But weather talk is boring. Don't Let's not talk about it more than we have to. John Stewart also tagged me about question. How can I keep the pace up? Well, I think it's my mentality. I need to get shit done. Be it about going to festivals, be it listening to metal, working, working out, um, all that stuff. I just need to do shit. I am not the kind of person who just lays back on the couch, daydreaming. I always do something, whether it's planning these streams once a month, whether it's going to the gym 4 times a week, whether it's listening lots of metal, talking about it, writing about it, doing reviews, going to the festivals, going to the gigs. It's Sometimes it feels like it's Excel sheet or Google sheet in my head, and all those rows and columns are filled with different plans, what I want to do. I know it's not for everybody, but I'm kind of a hyperactive person and I want to see shit done. Now, of course, there's priority like work and family and shit like that first. And then you need some do some chores, whether it's like taking care of the laundry, cooking food, blah blah blah. But there will be always time for music, friends, working out. And when all that stuff is done, then there's time for movies, gaming, watching sports, maybe drinking a couple of beers. I mean, of course, you can combine having a beer or two with friends or going to the festivals and whatever. But yeah, people just really need to plan things out, figure out what they want to do. I mean, what they really, really want to do, not the bullshit they tell everybody. Like, I think I'm gonna quit smoking. You either quit smoking or then you don't. You can talk about as much about it. Like, I should work out. Why don't you work out instead of talking about it? That's why I have one of the tattoos saying like res non verba, meaning like things, not words. There's even better one. Well, it's a little bit different angle, basically the same idea. Acta non verba. Actions, not words, or actions speak louder than words. I mean, if you want to do something, if you're really passionate about something, whether it's playing in a band, my thing, working out, also my thing, you will find time for that. But if you're not motivated, if you don't have a thing in your head like this is something I want to do, then you won't find the time. Like there's this saying, uh, if you want to do something, you will find a way. And if you don't want to do something, you will find an excuse. And that applies to basically everything in the world, whether we're talking about work, relationships, um, hobbies, lifestyle choices, whatever. People will always have those excuses when they're not up for something. Okay, somebody's going like, "Hey, Johnny, are you up for movie night?" Johnny is just gonna mute them if he's not up for that movie night. Or if he's up for that movie night, he will make sure his phone is right there in the hand with vibration and loud ringtones and what have you. My point there is, it's not that fucking hard really to figure out what you want to do, what you want to achieve. You just need to figure it out for yourself. Like, is this something that I do enjoy or consider important? Then you will do it. If not, then you won't. It's much like doing those boring chores. Do you want to live in a clean house or a dusty one? If you don't want to have a dusty one, then you probably clean it for yourself, or technically at least pay somebody to clean your house. Same things about like apply to cooking, working out, listening to music, playing your instrument, taking care of your car or your dog or your wife or your husband or whoever. Things are all about priorities in life, and these priorities are automatic for some people, and some people it's a mess. I get it. Life can be really chaotic, but in the end, the same rules apply to everybody. Whatever it feels like you need to do, that you will do. Whatever things you don't want to do, well, that probably won't happen anywhere ever. So, darkness and despair not happening in my house. Yes, SK, you mentioned Deus Mortem is something that I should be interviewing. Yes, if they're up for that, that would be really, really great. So, if you already had a talk with Deus Mortem guy and they're willing to talk, let's fucking do it. Yes, Cecilia, I might have actually planned to do this next week. I might have actually switched the dates because sometimes I really need to figure out which way I can do the Rauta calendar shit. So yeah, might have promised to do this for 9th, but sometimes things just change. Now my calendar is pretty done for December. Like I'm staring at the motherfucker here, and I can see already like what's supposed to happen in any given Sunday next 4 weeks. Like a couple of Crash Course to Norwegian Black Metal episodes coming out, also some underground episode review videos, and on Saturdays there will be some opinion videos which might be interesting to you or not. I don't know. Of course, I cannot choose it for you, but the point here is pretty much planned already what is going to happen for the rest of the year in terms of Rauta, and most stuff is done already that is filmed and scheduled. So if I die for the rest of the year, most videos are anyway coming out. There will be few ones I need to like still shoot, like the ones next week, because there's like a little preparation to be done, but all that stuff. Oh, anyway, moving on with your comments and stuff, and picking the ones that you have tagged me, like I asked you. So, Sadistic Vitamin, and this is Sacred Fruit Coconut Stout 4.5 from Little Valley Brewery. Pretty interesting taste. Should be a little bit warmer. Now it mostly tastes like a stout with coconut in it. Kind of a perverted taste. Wasn't there, by the way, a label in extreme metal called Perverted Taste? A German one? Kind of a crappy one, if I recall correctly. Um, yeah, going back with your tagged questions before I ask anything else. Salmex is asking if I was in the Loputon Gehenan Liekki documentary. Yes, I was there, still with my long hair and all. Yeah, I was briefly part of it. I mean, there was a long interview for the documentary, but I was only like a couple of questions and all that stuff. Hello, Dookie42. Thanks for your love for the channel. I'm happy to hear that you like the content. Now, I don't have exactly favorite Hungarian bands too much, but I guess, I mean, Tormentor did some classic stuff with Attila and all. I guess that would be one of it. Witcher has been picking up lately, so I think that's another interesting band from Hungary. There are more, of course, but I think Tormentor and Witcher should get most praises. Maslow, well, Valhalla is the only one I played through in Assassin's Creed series, so there is that. Thank you, John Jared, for becoming a patron. As you see, there are different tiers for the supporters. Thank you so much. All the money that we get through Patreon and also YouTube ads, that will be put into the pool of money that will be used in the Rauta crew to get hotels and flights. That is, whatever money we have there, that's not much. We're getting maybe like 1 to 200 euros a month. It depends, fluctuating how much people will be watching material, and of course, Patreons come and go. But that money will be always saved for these trips. So the more budget we have, the more Rauta crew meaning me and at least one camera people, the more we can travel, the more interviews will be possible to do. The amount of Rauta money does not affect how many reviews or opinion videos will be done. It's most about interviews. And currently, we're in a position where we can most of the year do one interview a week. I know it's not too much, and we cannot go really one interview every week throughout the whole year. We're not that far yet with the money. I mean, money sucks when we're talking about metal, when we're talking about hobbies, but that's how it is. Flights and accommodation, they fucking cost. And people are not that, that much into spending their own money so they can do work. So that's why I want to at least provide my crew the tickets and the hotels. So yeah, that's what the money is being used. So thank you so much. Now going back to previous questions which are not tagged. So this is a new tactic I'm trying to do, answering first the ones that are tagged and then the later one as well. Naturally, yeah, I think it was really, really nice that Hust did my job and conducted the interview. He actually said me like he did only like half the questions what he had planned. I think I answered way too long ones, lengthy ones, and also because they had a gig to play, so they had to prepare for the gig. So we're gonna do part two nights at interview eventually, and also probably most likely talk at part three. Naturally, that now that you ask, how does it feel being an interviewee for once? Actually, it was pretty fun. But then again, I'm kind of used to answering questions because you people on these streams ask me the questions all the time. So it's not that different, really. It was fun to uh, get my brain picked and get to answer questions. But then again, I already talk so much; it's not that different. Oh, by the way, hello Tia, nice to have you here on the stream, and hello Lex, welcome to the stream also. Um, but yeah, SK, that night side interview, I mean, that was planned very, very different ways. First of all, that was planned for the next Turku Saatanalle. I was already asking if a friend of mine could do it, like do some questions. The Jussi Helenius guy who you have seen at those with those Turku Saatanalle videos in the past, possibly in case you were watching. He's like the very connected guy in a Finnish metal scene, be it black metal, death metal, what have you. Also a vocalist of a couple of bands, more or less active these days. Bands like Cannibal Accident, which also played at Steel Chaos, and he has some previous bands already since mid '90s. He used to be vocalist for example, Crimson, Midwinter, Axe Aggressor, and I think some other bands. Yeah, some other bands as well. Actually, once upon a time in late '90s, maybe I actually introduced him to some guys who needed a vocalist, and that band wasn't my cup of tea. I was first asked to be the vocalist, and then I was like more like, hey, maybe you should get to meet this guy Jussi. He's a good guy, good vocalist, and all that stuff. So because Jussi is one of the guys organizing Turku Saatanalle, that is part of the organizing group called Metalli Helvetti, Metal Hell, and I was asking if Jussi could do the questioning because I've known him since 1996. We're old pals, really good friends, and all. And I was thinking like he can really improvise questions. We've been writing for the same magazine about music once upon a time, and I was figuring out maybe he could do the interview with me about Nightside, and he was like, "Yeah, maybe I could do it." So this possibility when Hurst of Talke like, "Hey, I could do it instead at Steel Chaos." That kind of came as a surprise, and I'm really thankful to him for doing that because obviously, even though people joked about it, I really can't ask myself the questions. It would just be silly. But there were some ideas like how we could do it. So yeah. Anyway, getting back to the questions already. Well, naturally, we can try to plan if other guys from Nightside could um, participate in the interview as well later on. That would be interesting because, of course, they have interesting opinions. They have different takes because we're different age and different experience and all that stuff. Maybe someday we can actually do it, or maybe I will ask the rest of the guys. We shall see how it goes. You mean here with what CD? There is Aura Noir CD. Dreams like deserts. I've been lately going to my own record collection, the one that you see in the background here. I've been going through alphabetical order, and so far, let me see. I try to point. Here starts A, right? And I'm around this place here, meaning I try to do one of my own albums, I mean, my own collection of my own bands, every work day after I've done my review stuff. So this is how far I've gotten, about 80 CDs so far, meaning I've been selling some, I've been putting them back on the shelf, and I'm rating them on, Rate Your Music as well as Discogs and adding them to my collection. And then I pick an album and I put it right there on the top of my LP player, my vinyl player. So usually my normal workday when I'm doing my day job, I listen to music, I get to do like one or two review albums, and then I pick something from here, move it there, and going to in alphabetical order. Now I'm at the letter A, our noir. So this has been something that I started quite recently, and I'm still in the letter A rather than, I don't know, K or R or something like that. So hence slow pace. Like yesterday, I was listening to first Hour Noir, what I have in the shelf, Black Trash Attack. So now I'm in Dreams Like Deserts. Actually thought about skipping some of the ones that I've been listening to in the past couple of years for whatever Rauta project, like Anthrax. I skipped it because I already did it like a year ago for a video. Our Noir ranking video I did maybe 3 years ago. So I feel like, yeah, maybe I should give it a listen. Anyway, that's what that's the reason. And SK, yeah, I don't know if Marty is ready to interview anybody. Besides, Marty videos are short ones. But yeah, we shall see how Ask Marty videos will be done in the future. Most likely, Marty will be present at Nordic Metal Cruise and Steelfest and Turku Saatanalle and all that stuff. But yeah, some people hate Marty, by the way. It's not like everybody likes Marty. Marty is a hated man. Marty is a lonely guy. Hated by many, loved by many. I don't know if anybody loves him or hates him. Oh, checked out. Poland has a vodka named Finland. That's pretty interesting. Hello, Dewis. And John Jarrett noticed correctly. It's Au Noir. Cecilia Taylor. What's Pappy Van Winkle? What's that stuff? Checked out. I didn't find Spider-Man to be woke garbage. I mean, there are woke shit. I mean, the stuff that really uh, ruins the stuff because it's so focused on being woke. Spider-Man was focusing on being fucking Marvel. Um, I didn't see it too much being like woke driven or focused. In my opinion, it was a great game, really enjoyable action, and in my opinion, the Marvel is way more, how to say, adult than in those Marvel movies. So I really can't, agree being focused on the woke stuff. What a great game. Yeah, SK, I don't think about so much being lucky with the snow and cold. I mean, it's kind of annoying because you really have to plow the snow not every day, but whenever it's snowing. So, I mean, there are better things to do. Not to mention, because of snow, because of cold, heating costs are skyrocketing. I'll give you an example. Last year, in no, no, really, this year in February, I think our heating costs for 1 month was something like 700 euros. It's like 3 to 4 times during the summertime. So maybe even more. So it's fucking horrible. So yeah, I'd rather take warm days than cold, snowy days. All right, going down with the comments. Mikia removed his comment. MetaVoice is playing Doom Eternal. That's not something I haven't played, but I didn't like the Doom game from 2016. Network, any big plans for Midwinter and Yule? Well, Midwinter, I mean, Yule is always a family thing. You know, eating together, opening some or Yule presents. For me, it usually means eating way too much, training hard. I love training at Yule period because then I'm anyway putting a lot of carbs and protein into the body and, becoming stronger. Yule is special time for training always. Gyro Lamp, I gotta say, I don't know Bjorn Anders Bull Hansen. Survivalist and Viking history. Interesting, but no, I don't know him. Mazaloth Elder Scrolls. Well, I played the previous Elder Scrolls, Skyrim, when it came out so many years ago. It started great, but in the end, towards the end, it started feeling like a single player World of Warcraft, which is not that great. I mean, World of Warcraft is so much better. Nestor, nice to hear that you love the shirt. Have a great weekend as well. And whoever commented about coconut in beer, yeah, it's not a good mix, but I had to try. Anyway, people, always tag me when you want me to answer your questions because I will notice the questions with the tag here. They're like being highlighted. So, Meta Boys, nice to hear that you like Marty funny guy. I try to keep Marty funny. That's the whole point. I mean, if Marty goes way too serious, then what's the point? Marty is trying to be this Phineas stereotype metalhead, drinking, being naked, and talking silly. So that's the whole point with Marty. So don't expect anything too serious about Marty. Robert Blatton is asking, what do I think about project and bands who don't play live? Well, even though I like bands playing live, I get it. It's not for everybody. I mean, there are bands and projects like Burzum or Dark Throne who are not familiar. I mean, who are not familiar, but comfortable to play live, to execute the art. But I also have to say, I kind of agree what Archcode guy answered. I think it was in my interview a few years ago that he feels like music is always being meant to be play live. I mean, recorded industry is very new if you really think about it. It's less than 100 years, whereas music played live, that's like since the dawn of time. Whoever picked the first two rocks and decided like cluckety cluck, cluckety cluck, 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 basic drumming or humming to music like do 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 do, or maybe he was like going fucking crazy. My point here is we're talking about great melodies, going heavy metal and thinking like that, or just like you suffer with why. Sorry, that's a bad name on that attempt because it's actually that's the name of that song. My point here is where we're talking about live performance, whether we're talking about opera singing or whatever, hip hop or just instrumental music. Yeah, it's live. It's not recorded. I hope somebody is not recording this stream. except me, of course. The thing here is, yes, music is supposed to play live. That's kind of like the basic idea. Recorded music is a newer version of that. I mean, I have had my own projects which are not that much into playing live, but that's partially because of my bandmates. I guess we could say recorded music is like masturbation. That's not what you are supposed to do with your genitals. What you are supposed to do your genitals with is have sex. That's playing live. When you do music, go have sex. That is, go play live. If you still, however, rather like to masturbate instead of having sex, that's when you record music. Okay, that's a pretty weird metaphor, analog for a lot of you people out there, but hey, some of us do love sex and music. That's my point here. So yeah, I get it. That's not for everybody when it comes to bands playing live and all, but I still think when you're really good with your music, when you're able to execute it right, there's no excuse why not to do it live. Because in live situations, you're allowed to do mistakes, you're allowed to improvise with recorded music. Mm, That's just like a written statement versus verbal ones. I mean, talking. So, in my opinion, live music is where the soul of the music exists. That's the point. So bands should be playing live, but I get it. It's not maybe meant for Burzum and so forth. Oh, Nestor, God, that would be great to get you a 24 pack of Pilsen Costa Rican beer. Well, I don't think it's that easy to send. I mean, it would cost a lot. But if you want to send me beer, I will give you my address. Oh yeah, Cecilia Taylor, you mentioned the interview amount. I think one interview a week is pretty okay a pace. Uh, but then again, I also think that it would be cool to have one interview throughout the course of the year, meaning 52 interviews throughout the year. So we shall see how it goes. I don't know how it will be here 2024, but it looks like Rauta is having a little bit better in terms of budget and all, but that might change. We shall see. No, so far it's good because now I've already done with the Inferno and all, but I don't know how it goes. Now YouTube will show you some ads, and I'm gonna use this as an excuse to sip some beer. See you soon in a few seconds. Maybe these ads will actually be shown more like people who are not watching this live. Anyway, more questions. Hello, Quaton Sweeb. Tough question. There are no tough questions. There are only interesting and not interesting questions. What do you think about Mikko Aspa? Well, Mikko Aspa is a very, very controversial character. He's, I think, smarter than what people give him credit to. That is, notifications. So, Mikko Aspa is he's smarter than people give him credit to. I think he's a bold guy making bold statements, having strong opinions, which are, of course, not suitable for everybody. That's given. But after all, we're coming from extreme metal, not your basic mainstream pop music. And Mikko has some interesting takes, be it politics, be it extreme metal, be it black metal, morals, and etc. etc. For example, he's more right wing leaning. I don't think he's like extreme right wing, but more on the right wing than central, conformist, or whatever. Not to mention left wing. This is probably where we differ. I don't care about politics, and I don't want to play in political bands, left or right. Mikko, then again, he's very okay playing in right wing stuff, like in his rock and roll bands, even if Clandestine Blaze itself is more, I don't know, To me, it seems like more like a nihilistic take rather than political in any ways. But when it comes to Nicole 12, I think he very, very well addressed some of the questions about Nicole 12, which some people consider it's borderline pedo uh, metal, no, not metal, but uh, electronics project. But like, I know he's like a father of a kid, and I kind of doubt that he would really, be serious about that stuff. But it's more about, it's much like filmmakers. You can be a filmmaker and do a story about perverted people. You can make a movie about sick people. You can do movie about, war or assassins or killers, murderers, who names. Um, that doesn't mean that these guys are like vouching for them. And that is exactly the same thing with Mikko Aspa. So even though he might do music that is very controversial by nature, like Nicole 12, but that doesn't mean he's like vouching that you should be doing that or this is what he is doing. So once again, it's more like this classic separate the art from the artist. I would be worried, really, really worried, if all the art in the world was 100% accurate reflection of what we feel and think about the world. Like, for instance, I have written a lot of lyrics for my own bands about certain darker topics of life: death, war, darkness, violence, etc. That doesn't mean I want to kill everybody on earth. Sometimes I kind of feel, very misanthropic and all. But then again, for example, what I say with my lyrics, I feel like certain people should die. That doesn't mean like my own friends or family should die. That's a big difference. And I think the same applies to a lot of bands who operate around war and death and all that stuff. Like, just check out some, I don't know, Marduk lyrics or whatever. And you have to understand what's reality, what's fiction, and what's more like an ideological take, or maybe like outsider pondering about these topics. I think a lot of death metal bands are very good in that. Like Cannibal Corpse, you might hear a song like "I Come Blood" or you know, "Fuck it with a knife." That doesn't mean that Cannibal Corpse guy is actually doing that or even fantasizing about doing that. So these are differences which we should understand apply beyond certain genres which are kind of obvious. I mean, it kind of could be obvious, like, yeah, of course, death metal is about horror fiction. Why wouldn't black metal be that? Or power electronics or whatever. Sometimes it's hard to understand what's reality and happening in real for people and what is just interpretation of any given outlet or thought or whatever. So yeah, these are not black and white for sure. But I strongly suggest, I recommend people to read Mikko Aspa's interview on Bardo methodology in order to understand Nicole 12 and Clandestine Blaze and so forth. I hope this answered your question and worries about it. Yeah, Fortin, Hust is a very, very nice and polite guy. SK is asking what kind of record player I have. That's Audio Technica something. I don't remember the exact model. Fortin, I gotta say, I didn't know that the American Dad Roger was based on Not the First, but I've heard this rumor earlier. Well, Madrid, it's not like this is a mansion, but it's an old house, which means, well, yeah, it's not a small house. But yeah, it means like heating bill can be really, really high. Oh, Cecilia, thanks you answering for Pappy VW. I would like to have that kind of a bourbon. No, SK, wood stoves for heating, they do exist. I mean, we have one. But, you know, I can tell you this much. Even the price of wood used for heating, that price also skyrocketed last year. Um, Even though that wood, you know, people buying those chunks of wood for heating, that availability wasn't too good. Not to mention the price. So yeah. No, no, okay, having a burp here. Hello, Nevermore. Hey, rules. Okay, reading once again your toes tagged questions. General habits is like, um, general this is didn't you say do you know like diets and eat whatever you want? Yes, I pretty much it, but I mean, I of course pay attention to whatever I eat. Like, I don't eat a lot of candy. Yesterday, I had a small pack of those kind of a cheesy puff things when I'm watching a movie, and also had a little pouch of licorice because hey, sometimes you really have to let your go, right? I even had a beer, but I mean, my daily life eating is more like chicken and rice, things like that. So it's not like I eat pizza and hamburgers every fucking day. So I mean, I don't want to get fat. Some people might say I'm fat phobic. Yeah, it's kind of a true. When it applies to me, I don't give a fuck if a lot of people are obese out there. They will die eventually before the leaner guys. But I cannot let myself become a fat person. I just don't like it. I'm not saying I'm a skinny guy. I'm not. I mean, I don't have a big belly, but that doesn't mean I have a six pack. I'm somewhere between that, you know, being fat fuck and being a skinny guy. But that also is related to my powerlifting hobby or lifestyle, if you will, meaning that if I want to get stronger, I cannot be too skinny. But that also means I am not the type who wants to be you know, the fat powerlifting guy who has way too much extra fat laying all over the body. So I try to be relatively healthy, but still being able to enjoy my life, meaning I want to have beers every now and then, and of course eat good food. So I don't count calories, I don't even count macros, but I want to be roughly in the territory that I have enough carbs, I have enough protein, and I don't eat too much fat, especially the bad kind of fat. I hope this answer your questions, but yeah, I don't believe in temporarily diets. I'm more like about in like maintaining healthy lifestyle. For example, have a beer or two, don't get drunk, uh, eat some good food and enjoy life. But that doesn't mean like eat just only trash food. So it's all about like a middle road, really. Nestor is asking if I want to do another interview with Mysticum. Surely. I try to, however, focus on the first timer bands. That is, if there's like five bands at a given event, and I have interviewed like two of them already, of course, these three other bands would be my main focus rather than going another round with the bands I have already interviewed. But like I said, I have already done a second primordial one. Why I did that instead of something new? Because for example, bands like D Side never responded. There were lots of bands that never respond, like Demo Burger, for instance. Actually, Blood Incantations never did respond. That only happened because of my friends. Thanks to Alan of Primordial, who helped to make that happen, and also Ule from Territory Position label, who was there to, fixing things. I mean, it's not like Blood Incantation is even signed to Territory Positions. They're signed to Century Media. I tried contacting people on Century Media, and they're like, hey, I don't know. Maybe you can do the interview, maybe not. I even emailed the band itself. No reply. And how it happened, it was more like, hey, this is Jerry from Rauta. These are guys from Blood Incantations. Maybe you people should have talk. Maybe you should do interview. And boom, we had more like 60 minutes of rather in-depth talk. So I always try to go for the ones that I haven't interviewed yet. But for example, at Steel Chaos, uh, day two, pretty much all the bands I had interviewed except for the ones that didn't have the time or at this event to do it. So instead, we had a good time to do night side interview. So that's how things sometimes happen. But yeah, second chances with new bands and even third ones when I have more questions ready and all that stuff, definitely possible. Trevor Lamb is asking what I started doing your workout. What was like my introduction? First of all, my introduction to powerlifting, or well, going to the gym. I think that was like a continuation to my martial arts hobbies, martial arts lifestyle, and it started with the way that my ex colleague, he was he had been doing something like 15 plus years in the gym, not powerlifting, but just hitting the gym. He had like big arms and all that stuff. So more maybe like in the bodybuilding style of training than anything else, but still. And I was from a martial arts background. And one year, this was, come on, 2008, something like that. And this friend of mine, he wanted to start a martial arts. So we went both to Brazilian Jiu Jitsu, was a new style for me as well. And at the same time, I wanted to go to the gym with him. So we were like, he came from this gym background to martial arts, and I came from martial arts background to gym training. So we kind of, how to say, joined each other's hobbies in a way. So in the beginning, I get some tips from him, but I also had two personal trainer meetings to give a little bit of basics done, like what kind of stuff I could do with the machines and barbells and all. And then my friend, the same guy, Jesse, he made me a like a kind of a basic program, like 3 times a week, including bench pressing, deadlifts, squats, and I got some basics like how to do the technique and whatever. And that means I was more going with the you know free weights, dumbbells and barbells instead of these machines. And then I figured out, okay, this could be something that I want to do. I did that for a while and I was making gains. Then another friend of mine who had been going to the gym and more in the powerlifting style, he was like, hey, do you know this program called 531 by Jim Wendler? And I was like, I don't know what's that. And he introduced me to that, and that was seemed like fantastic stuff. Like 4 times a week, you'd have like overhead press plus additional exercises. You would have a squat day plus the extra ones, bench press plus the extra ones, accessory movements, and then deadlifts. So that's what I started and figured out. Hey, this is what I want to do. This is getting me into some big numbers, and also I'm like getting stronger and then understanding the basics. So it was kind of like jumping into the rabbit's hole. You start with the very basic stuff, and soon somebody's handing you a program. This is what you should do to become stronger, bigger, and giving you motivation to do what you want. Basically, very, very same kind of story as with music. You start with the big names. Maybe you started with Kiss. Maybe you started with, I don't know, Iron Maiden, like pretty much happened to me when I was a kid. And soon you're like, hey, I'm finding these bands called Cannibal Corpse or Ball Thrower or Dog Throne and Burzum and all that stuff. So what you start with the mainstream stuff and you go with the rabbit hole style, suddenly it's a whole different world than where you begun. So much like an interesting story. You start with the mainstream basics and then you dive in. It's really, really cool. Yeah, 531. That's what I'm currently doing, but I kind of abandoned it for quite some time actually. I major part of last year, for example, I did Juggernaut, which is partially inspired by 531. So it's different and similar. It's more like kind of expanded of 531. But yeah. Sadistic Väinämöinen, we actually have maalämpö, and now we have ilmalämpöpumput. So this is not fully electrically heated house. If this was like that, it would probably cost 2,000 euros for a month. So think of that. And talking about Clandestine Blaze, by the way, people have mentioned it. Clandestine Blaze is good band, yeah, and something people should really, really check out. Stabat Mater is, in my opinion, not that great than Clandestine Blaze, but it's different style. And Nedred, I can only tell my experience about Mikko Aspa and for that Nicole 12, but I think it's very fitting what Mikko has always been. I don't know if he's a fully perverted guy. I mean, he used to do um, home sex videos with his wife back in the days when I got to know him. That was late 90s. So he has always been interested in sexual perversion, so to say. But I wouldn't, connect the dots like just because you're doing music that is flirting with the kind of pedo topics that you must be a pedo. Um, that just sounds like way too obvious, in my opinion. I mean, if he was that kind of a guy, why would he do music and reveal himself? But of course, people have hidden secrets, so hard to say for sure. And by the way, I haven't heard yet latest Clandestine Blaze. For some reason, Mikko didn't send it for review, and I didn't even bother asking because I'm already like overloaded with a lot of review albums. Yes, Meta Voice, I totally understand what you're saying about black metal. Um, Everybody gets their own different feeling what black metal is all about. I mean, that's kind of a like the part, uh, important part of the whole black metal movement, so to say, which I feel is very individualistic. I would say yes, to a certain degree, black metal kind of can be kind of a spiritual, but can it really be religious? Whereas a lot of black metal, in my opinion, comes from fighting that religiousness and religions in the first place. So spirituality, yes. Religions, really? Get the fuck out of here. But I also understand like a lot of topics related to black metal can come from like inner darkness, like having a dialogue with your demons or fighting them, uh, exploring the darker parts of human mind, psyche, soul, heart, whatever you want to call it. For me, when I've been writing some black metal lyrics over the years with a couple of my bands, um, for me, it's all about like describing the darkest parts. There's some parts of my head which I just can't put my fingers around them, and some of the topics are not something that I am even too willing to discuss because it's like I feel like there's something wrong with my head. Like I sometimes have really dark thoughts, which are not just like the basic kind of a dark thinking. I mean, everybody probably has their own fucked up scenarios in their head. Like, what if I'm gonna, just kill my boss or shoot my wife or whatever kind of thinking. But then, they're just like some weird ideas, which doesn't mean they are very much attached into reality. And sometimes these kind of ideas, you just have to went him out. Maybe you write a poem. Maybe you grab your guitar and do some riffs. Maybe you write lyrics. Maybe you just, I don't know, forget them. But that doesn't mean that something is wrong with your head when you get those ideas. Like if you're really like sometimes feeling like I should fucking press the red button and nuke the whole fucking planet away. I mean, if you're seriously in some level thinking about it, not laughing about it, but like dealing with the ideas or getting suicidal thoughts for that matter, I think something is broken inside of your head or mind. And those are the kind of topics I've been, dealing with every now and then. I'm not saying I'm depressed. I'm not. I'm not saying I'm suicidal. I'm not saying I'm homicidal. I'm not saying I'm going to do a lot of shitty things I have sometimes going on, raising those ideas in my head. But they can be really inspiring. That's why I think I understand certain individuals doing black metal or death metal or trash metal for that matter, because it's not some everyday life you want to pour in to the lyrics of your own band when you are kind of a fucked up. That's what I think separates us from the normal guys. Maybe the normal guys are also fucked up in the head. I don't know. But you kind of get the vibe, when you go out there with your band shirts and your own mindset, and you see those happy normal couples, and you're like, I'm definitely not one of those people. And not saying that with disrespect, but more like making the distinction. Like, I'm not talking about wolves and sheep here. I think that's what people like to think. Like, okay, so you think you're one of the wolves and they are the sheep. No, I'm more like saying, maybe I'm like platypus and they are dogs and cats. They might be different kind of cats and bears and shit, but I'm like this weird freak animal. Like, I'm this platypus. I don't know how familiar with your platypus, but it's kind of a fucked up animal. I mean, it's a mammal that actually lays eggs. Also has weird fucking venomous spikes and looks like partial a duck, but it's not fucking bird. It's a mammal. My point here is, sometimes things are just fucking weird. That's why we watch horror movies. It's not like we want to be part of the horror movie tales. Like, it's not like we want to be chased by a serial killer or something like that, and we want to be in danger. We actually want to be away from the danger. I mean, we want to be safe and sound and all that stuff. But that is something that's fucked up with certain people. We want to feel the horror, or maybe we want to watch some videos online which are about some horrible events. That can be about martial arts, or I don't know, people dying in weird car crashes, but we still go for them because we're fucked in the head. We're weird. I didn't think everybody who is a little bit artistic has some kind of a fucked up compartment in his or her head. Like, we're fucked. And the way that we deal with the fuckness or being fucked in the head is by doing art, poems, riffs, paintings, sculptures, who knows? Shit. We do shit. So my point here is, um, I like to think that to a certain degree, I understand other artistic people. I'm not claiming to be highly artistic people, but I know I make riffs, I write a lot, and some of my writings become lyrics. So at least I'm a creative person, if not highly artistic a person. Um, so I'm saying, like, I like to think, because I know a lot of people who are artistic and creative, creating different kind of shit. And I think every person I know who is creative and artistic, they are all crazy, just in a different way. Some are more, some are less, some are more normal, but they are all fucking crazy. Even the ones that you seem like normal on the outside, like, hey, normal clothing, normal small talking, and normal seemingly hobbies. But when you get to know them, they are fucked. They can look like a normal people and like, hey, I'm just paying the bills and blah blah blah. When you talk to them, when you get to know them, they are fucking weirdos. That's the beauty of it. I'm saying boring normal people don't create shit because they're not fucked in the head. That's all I'm saying. All right, more questions, more comments, because I'm rambling here a lot. Yeah, not red. This is old house, not mansion. I don't know if estate is the right word, but yeah, this is a countryside place on an island. Oh yeah, it would be nice to have sauna warm every fucking day, or at least once a week. But no, we don't even do that much. Now that you're asking about cheat days, no, I don't have specific cheat dates, but I kind of do. I mean, I just don't plan them ahead. It's more like if I'm having say movie night with my friends. Yeah, sure. I grab a pack of potato chips. I get some candies maybe. Um, I have a few beers. So those cheat days kind of automatically happen. But I'm trying to say here that I don't avoid, like, hey, I want to have a beer, and then like looking at the calendar. No, this is not the day when I'm supposed to have a beer, so I cannot do it. I'm like, fuck those rules. It's much like my mentality with creating music. If you feel like you're having a riff in your head, fucking do it. If you have a line of lyrics ready to be written down, fucking do it. If you feel like having a burger and a beer, fucking do it. No need to be a fucking weird food fascist about it. Just get your shit done. I mean, if you're losing weight, like a lot, then you'll know that you're not eating enough. If you're packing up a lot of bulk all over the body, then you know you're not doing something right. But for me, for example, my weight stays quite steady and I'm quite much on the level of my power standards. So, yeah, I don't have to worry about it too much. I know my body pretty well by this time and age. Gerald is asking if I think it's bad to do the same thing all the time working out or got a challenge to muscles. Yeah, I think it's important to challenge the body in different ways, different eras, and all that stuff. For example, now that I'm doing 531 program, means that like 4 weeks of 4 weeks blocks, like three gradually heavier weeks and then a deload. Now, during my deload weeks, I usually uh, throw some accessory movement out and take something else in. Like actually, yesterday when I was doing bench press, I had a little bit different uh, triceps movement for a while, something that I haven't done for months. I brought that in and throw something else out. So I changed those accessory movements every now and then. And now I feel like my triceps are like a little bit sore, like good. That's good. So yeah, I like to change accessory movements a little bit, even if the main correlates are the same. But of course, that changes with the given weight and reps based on the program, like how far you are into that and all stuff. Nevermore Rules is asking if Miko's still doing Cream Face. I don't know if Cream Face is active anymore. That used to be the kind of a porn grunt stuff, but maybe it's on hiatus or something. Gerald, you didn't know about new clandestine plays until now. Well, yeah, I guess Miko doesn't really advertise clandestine plays too much. Well, yeah, I will check it out eventually. The new clandestine plays. But the thing here is, it's not one of those Spotify bands, and listening to YouTube kind of a sucks. So there's that. Cecilia Taylor, yeah, you're exactly saying the right thing about black metal being uh, cultivating your dark side. I think that's very, very nicely said. Well, SK, thank you for your words. Still liking me if I did something fucked up. Cecilia, no reason to repress your inner goth. Let your goth flourish. Cultivate it. And yeah, Niklas Quarford is, I think, one of the people who is like unable to chain his piece down. He seems like an interesting person, but also like too fucked up, in my opinion, certain ways. Maybe that's because of the drugs and mental situation. I don't know. Yes, Meta Voice, I totally agree. Darkness and inner darkness, if we call it that, and emptiness. Sometimes feeling like life is meaningless and shit. I get very nihilistic every now and then. I think that can be really, really creative and also destructive. That's very true. It can manifest itself so many ways, and I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I mean, as long as you don't fucking get killed or get your meaningful people around you killed because of your, I don't know, wenning it out some ways. I don't know if that's the harm. I think most black metal musicians are putting that uh, manifesting that stuff in music. I think, for example, Barry Weakerness of Burzum, he did great job with that. Didn't stop him killing Euronymous for that, but still, I don't know what it could have been even if he didn't do that music. Maybe we could have done even more worse shit. So maybe there's that. Yes, Charlie, I really agree with the thing what you said that black metal alienates normies, which is good. Well, it's kind of a good because I mean, then we just get to kind of a justify whatever we're doing. The downside is, however, that when you're like how to say alienating too much, then you're gravitating towards like-minded people. Nothing wrong with that, unless it becomes really, really how to say it. It becomes this small bubble in a way, like you're putting the same kind of fish in the same barrel. So it's kind of an incestuous in a way, and becomes kind of a circle jerk. So even if you like being around like-minded people and you feel like, hey, this is the bond we are sharing, I think it's very, very healthy to go outside your barrel every now and then, go to see the world. And I would even go as far as to say it might be a good idea for people like us to, for example, to have a spouse who is not from the same barrel. I'm talking about the incest here, really. Um, so, I mean, I'm not the only one. I like a good friend of mine once upon a time said that he doesn't want to have a girlfriend who is from the black metal scene, even though he is. And it made totally sense to me. It's like rather than having this mirror, you're just going for something else, something totally different, where you can actually reflect things in a, say, more various, diverse ways. So there's that. Unfortunately, I didn't know that green monkey quote, but sounds interesting. Feel free to elaborate. Gerald, I think there's a really, really good commentary on Vogue and Euro in this Black Metal Evolution of the Cult book, which I'm reading currently, halfway through soon. And I think Euronymous was pushing the right buttons, maybe more than Varg. But they were both fucked. I mean, in their heads anyway. That's why the other one got killed. So yeah, I think Euronymous was really, really. I didn't know the person personally, so can't really comment in that sense. But based on what I've read, what I've heard, I would say that Euro's cultivating, like playing ball on two different fields. On the other hand, he was really um, taking the benefit of being on the black metal battlefield, leading the scene, and you know trying to cultivate the black metal people to really, really separate, alienate from the normal crew. And at the same time, he understood that this is also partially an act, in the sense that if you want to be treated with respect and all that stuff, you really have to be also a friendly, helpful guy. You just cannot be this weird fucking hateful guy all the time, or it will bite you in the ass. Um, but I read a lot of comments in these interviews that people said that he was a really, really nice guy and all that stuff, but he was just also trying to push a little bit further, you know, making people go a little bit, I don't know, over the board in a way, like a provoke them in a way. Uh, Anu, you have a quite a nice username. That doesn't make sense if I translate it. But I know I haven't heard Old Nick. I only know it by name, so cannot really comment the music. Finrate, Yule is gonna be just basically like hanging out with the family, eating, you know, doing Christmas presents and or Yule presents and all that stuff, basic shit. Michael, I haven't been really touching my guitar for quite some time because Annihilatus is now not active, and in Nightside I only do vocal duties. But when I play guitars, I mean it's kind of a raw end of old school trash black kind of thing. I mean either trash metal, black metal, or trash black. Annihilatus says it all because I'm the one doing the riffs. Finrod, I don't buy that Var killing Euronymous in self defense. There's so much evidence on that. Like if you're killing someone in self defense, you don't like backstab the person. And what I've been reading about Euronymous being stabbed, not to mention he was stabbed, more like 20 times. It's not self defense anymore. If it was self defense, there would be probably stabs in the face or chest area, stomach, abdomen. But when you stab somebody like in the back, it's not self defense anymore. So I think, you know, Vickerness just tried to explain it in such a way that it wouldn't look him like a fucking lunatic murderer. But I don't know. I mean, Euro might have had plans to hurt Varg, but then again, there were lots of these empty threats back in the 90s. Everybody who has been reading about history and those interviews back in the days know it. So I'm not buying that self defense theory. Well, yeah, Netred, that's my point. Your wife hates black metal. I mean, that fucking makes sense. And you should be in a way proud of it. Then it gets to be your thing, not like your thing personally, not your thing as a family, as a couple. So I think it's important, like guys doing guy stuff. Then there's couple stuff. Like that makes fucking sense. And yeah, production can be one of the key elements. But I mean, that's just like normal thing. I find those couples really weird who share everything. Like they're like liking same movies, same music, same friends, same hobbies. Like what the fuck? You need to have your own time and your own ways to express yourself and all that stuff. That's just me saying it. Cecilia, when I was doing Mayhem interview back in 2019, there were Necro Butcher and Attila doing interviews, and I didn't know which one I was going to interview until the very hour came to be. So it was like 50-50 chance getting Attila or Necro Butcher. Let's hope that next time it will be Necro Butcher because now I've had done with one with Attila. So we shall see. Yeah, never more rules. I think it's part of the charm that they cannot understand why you like, why you're obsessed with music. Like I have had girlfriends who don't understand why I'm like obsessed with music or video games or whatever, but they don't have to. That's the beauty of it. They don't have to fucking understand it. It's not like you have to share every fucking secret or every fucking detail of your life with your spouse, even if there was a significant other. I mean, it's not even likely that your significant other will be there as long as your best friends anyway, right? So your best friends don't know everything, nor should your spouse or not need to. Well, Netred, I haven't touched my guitars for a couple of years now. There's no need to for that. Even though sometimes I think I should pick the guitar and clean it off the dust. Actually, my keyboard player from Nightside, he's like, "Hey, what kind of guitars you had this week? We had this talk." And I'm like, "You should bring them over and he could clean them." And I'm like, "Yeah, I could do that. That would be nice, but I don't really have the need to use them. So they're just collecting dust, like behind me. You see that Jackson PS1? I have another one which is right there on the other side of fireplace. That's fireplace, in case you're wondering. So Sadistic Vainamon and I have two Jackson guitars. That's just coincidence. I have two same models. They're a little bit different with mics and all, but basically same guitar. Yes, Nadred, I think Mark pretty much preemptive uh, attacked Euronymous. But I think that was partially because he was maybe afraid Euronymous might have the first strike chance. But yeah, I agree. I agree. Varg probably didn't have a sense of humor. I also heard a disturbing story when I was in Bergen, or actually driving back from Bergen. A friend of mine told me the story that many years ago, I think when Euro, well, yeah, of course, Euro had to be alive because Varg wasn't imprisoned yet. So Varg was having this conversation with some inner circle pals or something, and he was irritated by something or somebody, and just took his knife and stabbed right through the thigh here, like behind by the knee or something, in a bar, just because he didn't like the guy. That kind of action already should like give you a little bit of heads up, like maybe you are fucking dangerous and somewhat of a lunatic of a person. So yeah, Euronymous was probably making empty threats, like "I'm gonna fuck you up if you don't shut your mouth. I'm gonna fuck you up." And Mark went all American, grabbing his gun. This is figuratively me speaking. So yeah, we know the story how it ended. So my point here is don't make fucking threats. They can really knock somebody off the cliff. Yeah, Farden, I mean that's another point. Driving from Bergen to Oslo, it's a 8 hours drive. I think it's like six minimum, 6 hours. So making these like credit card stuff and creating this alibi and all that stuff, yeah, it doesn't really make sense. Anyway, you should totally read the Black Metal Evolution of the Cult book. It's already out. I think it was released yesterday, the renewed version. I will review it for the channel. I was actually supposed, today I had this idea that I was supposed to bring the book to this particular stream and show you like the first glimpse preview it in a way, but I forgot the idea. So me and my memory. Well, I will anyway review it properly. It's more than 400 pages, A4 size pages of black metal history of various bands. I think it's gonna be a fucking long review of the book, but I will show it to you. It's a really, really great read. And finally, 90 minutes in the stream, and I'm done with the beer. Eric, he has this big story about Euronymous making necklaces and shit with dead bodies or dead body parts of dead Pelle. Uh, so yeah, that's the story. Yes, Eric. Some people have been asking like, what would be my number one band to interview if I got to choose just one band for Rauta channel? And I've been saying previously that would be Burzum. That would be Varvikerness. I mean that or Metallica. I know it's a kind of a weird comparison, but yeah, I grew up with Metallica, so there's that. But apart from that, of course, Weakerness or Burzum interview would be like something gold standard here, something very important. And of course, Dark Throne and Immortal and all that stuff. But if I got to choose only one, that would be Burzum. Cecilia is asking what are my thoughts of mixed genres of big festivals like Milwaukee Metal Festival 2024. I have no idea, but I'm gonna take a look at it. I already take a look at Hellfest 2024, And it's a really mixed bag of goodies and candies because it's basically from mainstream metal bands like Metallica and shit to bands like Emperor and the like, and lots of bands back and forth, smaller and bigger. Like, I don't know. So let's take a look at Milwaukee Metal Festival. So what we have here is actually very much like Hellfest, but smaller. Hellfest is like huge amount of bands, but these bands are quite similar. Like, okay, here we take Milwaukee Metal Festival. So Friday, May 17th. This is, by the way, the same weekend, if I'm not mistaken, as Steel Fest, which where I'm going. So here we have headlining Blind Guardian, followed by Camelot and Symphony X. So power metal, heavy metal. Not really my thing. And then combining that with old school trash, heavy metal names such as Destruction and Metal Church, but also from the extreme metal style, Marduk Incantation and Profanatica. That combined with bands such as Eternal Champion, heavy metal, and Uada, poor black metal. Well, yeah, they're kind of a. The point here is they're kind of a bigger names of the any given genre. We're talking about old school death metal like Incantations, old school trash names like Destruction, or black metal names such as Marduk and Profanity. Got pretty safe, guaranteed to get people going on. I mean, these are not controversial bands as such. Now, if you take a look at the Saturday, May 18th, Mr. Bungle is headlining, which is kind of curious because they're such a weird band. Like, are they really big enough to be a headliner? I don't know. Now, this is um, warmed up by bands like hardcore punk, Hatebreed, gothic bands, Catatonia, death metal legends, D-Side, Dead Trash legends, Possessed, Skinless playing death metal, and then some more smaller bands like Devourment playing brutal death metal and all. So far, much like the Friday lineup. Not that much, of course, power metal. I mean, these are different. But the point here is these are all like pretty basic, bigger names of any given genre, like Deeside and Possessed, old school death metal or death trash, and Catatonia being one of the bigger ones from more like gothic style. So these are not bad names by no means, but nothing like out of ordinary. I mean, these are the kind of names that you can probably see just anywhere. Now, taking a look at this Sunday lineup, this seems more weird. I mean, this is like Lacuna Coil, Avatar, In Flames. I don't know what this Death to All is. It's kind of a death tribute because it's like 2 days here, Saturday and Sunday. And then you have a smaller band. To be honest, I find this Milwaukee Metal Fest kind of a boring. I mean, of course, you haven't ever seen bands like Marduk, Incantations, D-Side, what have you. Yeah, probably. Wow, I'm gonna see them for the first time. I'm gonna see D-Side. I'm gonna see In Flames. I'm gonna see Metal Church. But to be honest, would I put my Rauta money on stuff like this, even if this wasn't in United States, but somewhere closer, meaning cheaper flight tickets? Not to be honest, because I've seen most of the interesting bands anyway already. Why would I spend my time and money for bands like Blind Guardian or Lacuna Coil? No disrespect, not my cup of tea. Same applies for bands like In Flames or Eternal Champion for that matter. So it's not my cup of tea. But these kind of let's combine black metal, big names, death metal, big names, and then just some power metal, heavy metal, big names. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a safe to go with that. No controversial bands and relatively big ones to kind of get the audience from death metal to black metal to power metal to doom metal to heavy metal. It's like a mixed candy bag. Not that interesting for true fanatics, but I guess a lot of big names for people who are like, I don't know, all arounders with their stuff. So not that interesting, in my opinion. Hellfest was way better, but then again, the lineup was so much bigger. So yeah. Random thought is Unleashed still touring? Yes, they are. At least I noticed they were signed to, I think, Midcourt's Plot, for example. Eric, gotta say, I don't know if any other bands are equally fucked up and as interesting story as Mayhem and Burzum. I think that's kind of a one of a kind because what this is something that I explained at Inferno 2022. When Vikernes murdered Euronymous, not only he destroyed Mayhem for good. I mean, come on, Euronymous was the guy in Mayhem, and everything that happened after Euronymous was died is not even close in terms of quality to what the band achieved with the Mysteries, the Satanas, live in Leipzig, and all that stuff. Also, that destroyed Burzum. I mean, when Burzum went, or when Weakerness went to prison, there were no as good Burzum albums anymore coming like Philosophem or Visluset Taros. Bellows and Fallen are quite good, but then there was these rather mediocre Dungeons and albums and the stuff that came after Fallen. So Burzum was also partially destroyed. And Thorns, let's not forget that Thorns was in the making. Thorns have done only one album during more than 30 years of existence. That album is fantastic, but I mean, Thorns could have been way more if Snorre Ruch didn't go into prison for collaborating or being, you know, what do you call, charged for helping with the murder of Euronymous and all. Sadistic Venom is asking a very important question. Is Jari Mäenpää ever going to have his sauna studio ready? I don't know. Not likely. He seems like a perfectionist guy. I don't know. I'm not a fan of his music, so I don't know. But yeah, that's a hilarious question nonetheless. Cecilia Taylor, yeah, actually, it was confirmed that at least Euronymous sent a piece of dead skull to Morgan of Marduk. I don't know if he has the shrapnels still there, but yeah. Yeah, the evolution of the cult book is really good, and the renewed version has actually some updated information even year 2023. So I guess it's worth getting because it seems to have newer parts of the book. Catch you later, Natred. Take care and good night. Nico, I think Steelfest will sell more than 3 days tickets, but of course the 3 days well experience is the only real way to experience Steelfest. I think there will be 1 day tickets later on. Uh, Balins Mushka is asking if I do like King Diamond. I never got to like the vocals of King Diamond, so that kind of a put Merciful Fate and King Diamond out of my territory, so to say. No, I don't hate King Diamond. I actually like the artist, but I can't stand those vocals. And yeah, Thorns was amazing. I wish that Thorns could be making more albums. All right, almost 2 hours in. Are we out of questions? Can I go play my cyberpunk and have a little bit of whiskey and all? Because I kind of feel like doing that stuff. Been answering your questions for almost 2 hours now. That's Nico. That might be really true. Yeah. Cecilia Taylor, I would love, like to drop some names. I'm not the type of person who wants to hide things. So if you act like an asshole, you're probably gonna hear it from me. But no, I've been in the fortunate place with Rauta and stuff. I know if it's my charming character and personality, but so far nobody has been acting like a dick when it comes to me and my Rauta business. Outside that, maybe, but more in the past. To be honest, everybody has been, I could say, in general, really, really nice. Maybe the most disappointing interview I've done was with Au Noir, but it's not like they were acting like assholes. They were acting like rude or acting like idiots. They were more like tired and unmotivated. To be honest, in hindsight, I've been thinking maybe maybe they were too tired to do it. Like, I don't know why they wanted to do it if they were not that enthusiastic about it. But that's something I would like to fix in the future, like doing a new Au Noir interview with Apollyon and Aggressor at least, maybe Blasphemer if he's up for that, because I would definitely like to pick all those three guys' brains. Blasphemer partially because of Mayhem, and of course those Au Noir duo guys for a lot of their work in Au Noir, but also other bands, be it Vedboens and or other projects, side projects, and all that stuff. But even they were not rude, they were not being assholes. So there's that. So I guess, in a way, if I can use this perverted word here, I'm blessed in the sense that everybody has been polite and nice to me, even super helpful. Like I was pointing out this blood incantation interview story from Bergen. It was like not only I was having good time with Alan of Primordial doing the interview, but he was also like making that blood incantation stuff happening, and making jokes when I passed by when he was hosting some kind of a quiz. My point here is, in my role as an interview guy and general metalhead, journalist or whatever you want to call me, I don't really care. I'm not here to define myself so much. My point here is, I try to be polite, I try to be friendly, but of course, I'm not expecting everybody to like me. That would be way too weird, awkward, if you will. But I try to, behave nicely, behave smart, behave like a fun guy to be with. That's what I try to do. That's why I hope you are on the stream, not hating for, I hope, liking what I do with the bands. And of course, when you act nicely, you act friendly manners, have fun, good talks. That comes back. It's not that karmatic, but in a way, it is like karma. Like, do nice things to people, act nicely, be fun, be smart, all that stuff, and people will be doing the same thing to you. So I guess that's the reason why I haven't met rude assholes. Sometimes certain things get canceled, but I don't take that as a rude thing to do, because I think whenever I'm like doing these interviews and all that stuff, of course the bands want to promote themselves, or else they wouldn't be doing those interviews to begin with. And also, I like to think that these guys who I'm having these interviews with, they are motivated, and they're, I mean, about talking to bands and their ideologies and what goes in their heads, rather than acting like a dick. So while it's kind of a like likely that eventually I should be um, crossing my paths with some assholes or rude people, so far it hasn't happened, and I've been doing Rauta since 2017, so 6.5 years. Overall, I think, now this is something I have to double check, but I've been doing more than, god damn it, more than 150 interviews. I keep the list in case you're wondering. This spreadsheet list. This takes you to um, my interviews and reviews. Not all the reviews are there. There might be like 50% of what I've done. So in case you're checking out the Rauta reviews tab, it's gonna show maybe half the reviews I've done. That's already over 3,000, by the way. But the interviews tab is very much updated, and you should be seeing more than 150 lines of interviews done and links to those interviews. Oh fuck, I haven't been adding that Skyforger one to the list. It's not totally updated, it seems. My point here, anyway, more than 150 interviews in, and I still haven't encountered lots of assholes in terms of Rauta, anyway. So I guess I'm in a happy place in that sense. So it's good that we have hope for mankind, at least in terms of extreme metal and beyond. So final questions, and then I will be going to play some Cyberpunk. I should be firing up that Twitch stream there as well. Yes, SK, I have more than 30 hours in Cyberpunk, and I'm gonna finish it now before moving on to the next game when Spider-Man took my time away from Cyberpunk. Finray is asking a good questions like, do I know or like some Christmas metal songs? No, I don't. Metal songs are mostly horrible or at least neutral at best. Have a good weekend and solid winter, Fartine. Joe Roland is asking a good question. What GTA game is best for me? GTA 5. But then again, I've liked all the GTA games, the 3D ones especially. So GTA 3, 4, Vice City, and 5 all are 5 out of 5 games for me. I haven't played still San Andreas. I missed that during the days of World of Warcraft and all. Finrate, it is very okay to wear a Bersham shirt in public. That's what I do anyway. So I don't care. Like SK said, it's okay if you think it's okay. Well, right, I'm ready. I'm of course up for such triple collaborations. Just bring them on, make them happen. I will do it. Yeah, but otherwise, I would say Cyberpunk is so far being like 8 out of 10 for me. Spider-Man was 10 out of 10. Meta Voice, I am not playing the DLC yet, but I will play it eventually. God of War Ragnarok is a great game, by the way. Yes, sadistic Väinämöinen, you should definitely go to the bar. I would go to the bar unless I was here at home, but next weekend I will be going to the bar. So maybe that's the reason why I had to do. Oh yeah, by the way, now I remember, Cecilia, I couldn't do the stream next weekend because next weekend is actually my office Christmas party. That's why I couldn't do it next Saturday. It had to be this one. So yeah, go bars, people. Thank you so much, Nigo, for your donation. That €2 will be used in Rauta budget. So thank you for donating and helping the cause. All right, Cecilia, off you go. You finish blasting Life is Sickness and what have you. Next Rauta stream should be taking place. Let me think. Fuck, I've already planned my top 10 albums for early January. Let's see, it might be the first weekend, so 6th of January, but currently I've been putting my my top 10 albums for that day. Maybe I will change it and move it. Okay, let's plan it there. Let's plan it. So most likely the next stream should be January 6th. So maybe, unless things go and change the plan, we'll do it then. All right, thank you, Tia. Thank you, SK, and all that stuff. And no streaming at the office Christmas party. No fucking way. It's gonna be beer with my boss and my friends. So all that stuff. Congratulations, Cecilia. Have a good birthday and all. All right, catch you later, people, and thank you for being part of the stream, making good questions and all that stuff. And thank you, Nigo, for money. The donation will be wisely spent. All right, off you go, people. Enjoy your weekend and blast some metal. Check out next content on Rauta channel. More stuff coming your way already tomorrow. Good night. Bye bye.